Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Divorce Coach Diaries. So, if you follow me on social media, which if you don't, you should, Meg the Divorce Coach on TikTok and Instagram. This week, I've been talking about the idea that people show us who they are. And when they do, it's really good judgment to believe them. So that's what we've been talking about on social media this week. And it's been a really interesting concept to engage with you on and to think about. When we hear this phrase, we often think mostly that it's about when people show us their bad behavior, don't just ignore it. But it actually goes both ways. And it applies to us as well as other people. So when someone shows us their bad behavior, to not ignore that. But when they show us their good, don't ignore that either. And I'm not talking about the uh, the badness wrapped in goodness, like love bombing or something like that. I am not referring to that. I am talking about over time when people show us their goodness to not ignore that. What does this mean? That it's good judgment to believe someone when they show us who they are. We often think that judgment is harsh or critical, but good judgment is about awareness, seeing what's in front of you and responding truthfully or honestly. People are constantly showing us who they are through their actions, through their consistency, effort, energy. The problem is that we don't often believe them. We explain it away, or we wait for them to change, or we hold on to potential instead of reality. We just don't believe what people show us. So, what might this look like? Let's talk about bad behavior or negative behavior that we ignore, and then we'll talk about the positive behavior that we might ignore as well. So, what does this look like potentially? It might look like someone who repeatedly dismisses your feelings, or someone who shows up only when it seems to be convenient for them, or someone who says the right things, but their actions don't line up with what they say. You don't have to judge them as bad, as a bad person, as toxic, but you can take what they are showing you as information. It's just good to know. Believing this behavior that we don't love doesn't mean we give up hope. It means that we are honest about what is actually happening, that we're honest about what we see and what we are experiencing. Believing this, believing what they're showing us, helps us stop arguing with reality and start actually making choices that protect us. It might also help us decide how much access we're willing to give this person to us. So, why do we struggle to believe what we actually see? Hope and fear both distort our perception. We want to believe that people will change, or that if we just give them a chance, that then they'll show us who they really are, that this isn't actually it, but we just need to give it longer and then we'll see for sure what they are. So let's talk a little bit about when people show us the good, that it's okay to trust that as well. We can be just as skeptical or untrusting of kindness, of consistency, of care, of emotional maturity, of emotional adulthood. Your lived experience might be that that can't be trusted either. And that is okay. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. After we've been hurt, it's so easy to question motives or brace ourselves for disappointment. It's like we have a ceiling on what someone is honestly able to show us or how a human is able to show up, that there's a cap on it. That if people are too good, if they're too consistent, if they're too caring, that feels like a red flag to us after hurt sometimes. And that is okay. So I want to remind you that believing the good that someone shows you consistently over time does not make you naive. It helps you receive love and support, things that are actually there in people. Because here's what I believe in the goodness of humans. And I choose to believe that that doesn't make me naive or gullible. I want to see people's goodness. I'm also not willing to ignore the bad behavior anymore. And I think that that makes for the most peaceful way for me personally to live and to show up in the world. Kind of the idea of trust and verify. Because here's what I also believe. I believe that you deserve to trust what's real. And if you see goodness in someone, that it is okay to believe that. So again, why do we do this? Why do we struggle to believe what we see? We want to protect ourselves from being fooled again. Your lived experience might show you that you can't trust people and in their goodness. And it makes perfect sense why you struggle to trust this. Your lived experiences have shown you that it's dangerous to trust people. Both extremes of these, not trusting in people's goodness and not believing their bad behavior, both of those extremes pull us away from clarity. So our goal is to see what's true and to respond from awareness, not from fear, not from naivete, but to come to a truthful awareness of what we see in front of us and to not ignore it. So, how do we practice believing people? We pay attention to consistency. We don't rush to make meaning out of everything. We just notice. We ask ourselves, what are their actions telling me and showing me? Or maybe, what am I pretending not to see? Or also, what might I be overlooking because I'm afraid to trust? The more you practice, the more peaceful your relationships will become because you are dealing with what is real and you can make decisions from an intentional place instead of a fear-based place. So when people show us who they are, believing that is a form of self-respect. Think about it that way. It doesn't mean you have to judge someone, to fix someone, to control them. It just means you are choosing clarity over confusion. And clarity helps us move forward in a confident way, whether that means setting a boundary or settling in and letting someone show us their goodness. So if you are learning to trust yourself again after divorce, during divorce, even in the relationship that you're in right now, how to see people clearly and make decisions from calm instead of fear, that's what I help my clients with. So if you want to talk to me about your specific situations and where you're struggling, book a free call. I help people for free on Tuesdays. So get on my calendar, megthedivorcecoach.com/free coaching, and it will pull up my schedule. And I'd love to meet you and help you with this because this is work worth doing. trusting and believing what people show us is really good judgment, and it's a skill that we can all learn. And I want to help you with that. So, my friends, have a great weekend. I'll talk to you again next week. And until then, see you later.